A UN study shows that when women are educated and more women work, economies grow. An increase in female labour force participation or reduction in the gap between women and men's labour force participation results in faster economic growth. Now, once there is that growth and earning potential, financial literacy plays a large part in how well that money is used. Sizwile Sibindi from Girls with Funds joins me in studio now. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Tell me about Girls with Funds.
Girls with Funds is an initiative that I started to try and educate women about their personal finance management. So basically we are saying as women we should be in control of our own finances and we should be able to know how to deal with our day-to-day financial struggles. We don't have to rely on anyone else to educate us about it, but we have to take the initiative and do it ourselves and be aware of what our earnings are and how much are we spending every month and not be ignorant about our financial situation. Yeah.
Why did you come up with it? What's the backstory?
So the backstory is my own financial struggles. I've had periods of time where I've gone without a job for like a year, and I know the struggles that I went through. And I know I could have overcome those struggles if I had planned in advance, if the time when I was earning, I could have prepared for that time. And also conversations with my girlfriends, conversations with other women that I meet around. I know that we struggle with finances so much, not because sometimes we don't earn enough, but because we don't plan enough. But when you look at the flip side, we bear like the biggest burden in terms of taking care of our families financially. But we are not educated enough about how to take care of our finances. So I said, I'm going to do this for women and not for anyone else.
You're an accountant. That's an industry that, if I looked at it as someone who's not in that field, I would say if you're an accountant, you know everything about money and you should be able to just have this knowledge on the top of your fingertips.
Unfortunately not. It's so easy to go to the office and do what you have to do the balance sheets for the office, do the trial balance for the office, but not apply it to yourself at home. It's so easy to tell someone else, but not apply it. So we have to come to a point where we are saying, if there's a balance sheet in the office, surely there should be a balance sheet in the home. But then put it in a way that is easy to understand for anyone, not just for accountants.
Whenever there are programs for women, a small but quite loud voice says that why you're just focusing on women, boys and men also need financial education. What would your response be to that?
Oh yes, boys and men do need financial education, but there's a lot that women have to bear which men do not have to bear. For example, if you look at the structure of the home, it's very easy for you as a mother to pay for extramural activities, buy the yogurt, buy this, buy that, and the men might not even be aware that there's all these other expenses. And you get to a point whereby when you tell the men that this is how much we are spending per month, they'll be like, that's not possible, we can't be spending so much, because as women it becomes our responsibility. So I want women to be equipped, I want women to be educated about finances.
How are you going to do this equipping and education about finances?
So the first thing that we want to do is to have seminars. So we hold seminars, and these are not just motivational speaking seminars. These are seminars where you come out with practical tools and tips on how to save, how to manage your budget, how to manage your debt. If you want to buy a car, what are the things that you're supposed to be looking at? We bring in lawyers who are good with estate planning. They tell us, how do you write your will? If anything happens to you, what happens to your child? Because it all forms part of the financial education. So that will be the first step, doing the seminars. And then after that, we move into one-to-one coaching with different individuals, where we sit with you and we say, let's have your 6-month goal and let's work on that goal together. It's going to be hard because you'll be telling people not to spend, not to buy the shoes, not to go for the movie, but we have to do it. Yeah.
If you could do a quick, very general, perhaps coaching for anyone who's watching, a woman who's watching, who's saying, I don't feel like I'm in control, what's the 1 or 2 things that you would say to them they need to take a look at in order to plan their financial life better and to streamline it better, maybe?
Number 1, be realistic about how much you're earning. And number 2, track your spending. Know exactly where your money is going to on a month-to-month basis and bring it down to a day-to-day level. On a daily basis, where are you spending your money on? You find that it's so easy to go out and buy the pizza or go out and buy a pair of shoes, but that's money that's coming out of your account. So keep track of that spending, and then you'll be able to see how much you're spending on a monthly basis and how much you have left over.
A lot of people, when they deal with financial literacy and trying to be better with how we manage our budgets, give this kind of advice. Someone would say perhaps we're living in a tricky economic situation at the moment, unemployment is really high, quite a depressing space to be in at times. Shouldn't I be able to spoil myself, and how do I balance that if I'm just like, it's just a movie or it's just a pair of shoes compared to my salary perhaps the whole month?
I'm a big advocate of spoiling yourself. I love spoiling myself, but I also believe that you have to plan for it. If you tell yourself that this month I'm only going to spend 500 Rand on spoiling myself, if something else comes up which costs 1,000 Rand, then you have to step back and say, no, that's not what I planned for. It's hard, but yeah.
Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Sizwile Sibindi joining us there in studio.